Hi, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back.
We have some real deep stuff to talk to you about today. With some real life stuff. Not that anything isn't real life, but we've been going through it. And that's part of life. And we know that. And we thought it was interesting topic to bring to this. Because I've been reflecting on the work that we're doing here in sharing the tools and tips that we are learning to elevate our own lives. And I think it's really incredible that we try to be as authentic as possible and transparent, but at the same time recognizing we're both human beings with personal lives and we don't have to share everything, but at the same time there are some important lessons that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
That we want to be open about.
Right. Because, as people, like you said, as human beings, we go through problems with our children, with our relationships, with our
bank
finances.
accounts.
Yes. And then it's like, okay, well, when all of these things feel like they're crashing down around you and sometimes crashing all at once.
Yeah.
How do you still hold faith and believe in these lessons that everything is perspective or everything can be, changed and pivoted by changing your thoughts? It's like, okay, well, how do I do that when it feels like everything around me is just going to shit?
Yeah. How do we continue our faith when shit hits the fan? Because a lot of manifestation can feel like fun and exciting and magic.
Yeah.
But the truth is, life will continue to happen.
Yes.
And I know that there's been so many times throughout my journey, and I think I shared this last time. I was like, there were times where I was like, this doesn't work. And last time when I said that, we kind of laughed about it, but there are times where it's really serious, where it's like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on with my world right now?
Yeah.
True turmoil. And if that's, if I'm trying to leave a life behind of trauma and turmoil and stress and blah, 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 I think there's some things to normalize that life is always going to have stress. We're always going to have contrast. And there was a time in my life where I thought I was going to manifest so good that things on the planet, all the worldly things, weren't going to affect me. And they affected me. Yeah. I came to a point where I was like, oh shit, I actually do have to deal with things. I don't get to bypass anything.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have been just kind of sharing with each other different things that we're experiencing. And the interesting thing about it is we're also recognizing, look at all the tools that we have. We're so blessed that we've read all these books. We're trying these things. We've done it separately before we came together to do these things. And it's been a real blessing for me.
It's been a blessing.
to know that when we reach out, and I think, and maybe just sort of for listeners to know, we don't talk every single day. We go sometimes a few days or even a week, probably not 2 weeks anymore without talking. But when we do, it's almost like reaching out, oh my God, are you okay? Because look what I'm going through.
You're like, oh my God, your world's falling apart too. But then it's also knowing that we're going to come out on the other side.
Yeah.
And we're going to come out, we are going to be okay. But I often wonder, and I've been just wondering this recently, is where would I be had I not had these tools?
Right.
I would be spiraling somewhere thinking that everything is over, everything.
Yeah.
And because I have these tools, especially the tools from Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, that I feel things are going to be okay. Things are going to get better. This is only temporary. I'm going to come out better on the other side, and I'm going to be better for it. It's not going to be perfect. The journey's rough sometimes. There's going to be bumps and bruises and scrapes and tears
broken bones.
Yeah.
Nosebleeds.
Yeah. But I mean, like, we're going to learn things. We're going to learn lessons, and it even, I feel like it helps with my parenting as well. For those of you that are parents, is I'm showing my children how to manage stress and conflict differently than maybe I would have 15 years ago. Spiraling out of control.
And I think one of the things that we're encouraging people to do differently also is read the books, but apply the tools.
Yeah.
Don't just read the books to be like, oh, that was a nice book, and it goes on the shelf. And I think most people who, do believe in manifestation and do believe in like the ability to change their life, I think they are applying the tools. But I think that's something that I would really emphasize, because with reading these books together, you and I have really like doubled down in saying, like, what is the process?
Yeah, I like that you said double down. It's because, we read these books way back when, and then now we get to revisit them and, remind ourselves of the tools that helped us and the tools that are still helping us. And we also get to revisit things that we might have missed because maybe we didn't need them at the time.
Or we weren't ready for them.
Yeah, we weren't ready for them.
We weren't ready to align with them. So one of the things that I've heard twice today, one of them on a message that I was listening to on the way to work, and something that you said when you came in, and I don't remember the words that you used, but it was basic, or you were talking about the energy that I'm giving out and the energy that I'm receiving.
Oh, that exchange.
That exchange. And the other way that I thought about that and how I heard it this morning and last night. So it's just crazy how sometimes there's these messages that just keep coming to you.
The synchronicities. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an exchange, but it's also like, to every piece of energy or every output of energy, there is always an opposite. So there's that energy exchange, but there's also like, it's everything always balances out. So this morning when you said, like, this is only temporary, we're going to come, like, I can't wait to find out what's going to come out of this. I didn't even think about that because my head was so far in.
Just in it.
And I mean, so like, I feel like there's all of these like rules, like when you start manifesting, you get to, just try one or two of the laws and everything works out. And then
you're in flow and you're just like flowing with the universe. Like, because people talk about getting into that flow, but what about when you get out of flow? Because you're not always going to be just like in flow and aligned. It's not always that way.
And I have a list in one of my journals somewhere. And every time I start a new journal, I try to like recreate the list or bring it from the other one. But it's almost like there's my own 10 commandments that I need, and some of them is those rules. This is only temporary. What we're experiencing right now is old news based on a previous manifestation. And then there's all those other points like forgiveness, detachment, clarity, right? Like there's all of these things that I feel like one day that will be how I'll write my book, is here are the things that I did. And, like I think about that often. I just have to get clear on my list.
Oh, that's nice. Maybe that's your next book, The 10 Commandments of Jessica.
Yeah, Jessica's version. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I always think about like, there's ebbs and flows. And I try to explain that to my daughter sometimes when she's going through stuff, is that, there's these ebbs and flows in life. And sometimes it seems like we're coasting along. And then other times there's challenges. There's, I don't want to call them tests, but they feel like tests.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all a matter of how we push through them. and that we don't allow it to break us when it's happening.
Yeah.
And we keep going, we keep our faith, we keep utilizing the tools. We don't allow ourselves to get pulled off what we know is what right.
Yeah.
And how we're supposed to be doing things. Like, we don't allow ourselves to get, pulled down into the darkness and allow the darkness to just take hold of us. Like, we just keep pushing through, and eventually we're going to come out of it on the other side. And, there's just all of these wonderful things waiting on the other side. We just got to get through the darkness.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to think of those tests, and anyone who's listening, if like, you probably know what we're talking about when it almost feels like here's an example of one of those tests that I like to call opportunities. The test is something like, I want to become an entrepreneur, but I have this really good job offer. This job is going to give me all these benefits and parking space downtown, right? So it's like that becomes the test or the opportunity. And ultimately, how I would describe that even further is going back to one of our conversations before recording, is which timeline am I going to align myself with? Because I could stay in this job and, get $115,000 a year and have a parking spot and what is that called? An expense account and blah, 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 all this shit.
A phone.
Yeah.
All those kinds of things.
Assistant, all of that stuff. You can align with that. And it's like that crossroads, right? Or I could take the leap and quit my job, become an entrepreneur, right? So that's an example of an opportunity. An opportunity, also known as tests, that what people call them. And I think it's like, those are opportunities where we get to choose, which one am I going to align with? And we can do that in any situation. It doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be, about stability. It could be about, which version of the story am I going to align myself with? That's going to become my truth. That's actually, like, I think that's probably deeper. Some of that, like, I would refer to the Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zealand. Like, that's a deep book. Like, that's quantum physics, like, I don't know, on steroids. It's deep. I haven't even finished that book.
Steroids.
Because it's fucking deep.
And then you also have to be still and listen to, what do you really want? It's like, okay, there's that voice telling you, you'd be crazy not to take this secure job. But your heart and your passion and your spirit is calling you to do this other work. Yeah. Like this entrepreneur work where it's always on your mind. It's like, it gives you passion. It gives you joy. It feeds your soul, and you really want to do it. But then you have that other voice saying, no, come where it's safe. Right. And then you have to decide, which voice am I going to listen to? Which am I going to listen to? Because whichever you listen to is the timeline that you're aligning yourself to. And so, again, another example of that can be something as, I was going to say simple, it's not simple, of, waking up in the morning and saying, I'm a millionaire, and aligning with that. That's identity work, right? I'm a millionaire. Or you wake up, you go through your social media, you look at your bank account, your email, and you're like, oh yeah, my life sucks. So you're choosing to align your identity with those timelines. With that version of, oh, my life sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of that version of you that first woke up and felt like, I could be this. Right. I don't know. I think where I'm at right now with just things that are going on in my life is, I truly believe in aligning with the story that you truly believe, that's in your heart, that you're passionate about. That can be your truth. The outside circumstances don't actually matter, because they are old news. They're old manifestations. They're old visions. They're old fears that are just like coming up in the world. And that's the only way I've changed my life.
from where I came from.
You want to know something? I don't know if it's scary, but it seems a little bit scary to me, is that when I started reading this book, I started to just let so many things go. Okay, so I started letting go old thought patterns, letting go of old thought patterns, ways of thinking. Like, for example, I used to be so concerned with what other people were doing or thinking or wearing or acting. I would be, oh, well, this person's, why does this person want to do this? And then, so after reading this book, I would just taught me, like, just, you don't worry about other people. It's not your business. It's not your job to focus on why another person is making this decision. Your job is to just love yourself and focus on yourself. So then I started letting go of my need to criticize, my need to judge, my need to fix other people's problems. I started letting go of all of that. And eventually it got to the point where I was almost starting to feel numb. That's the scary thing, is like I was starting to feel numb to things.
Interesting.
Where I was so unbothered, to the point where I was like, oh my God, do I even have any feeling anymore? Because I was so unbothered. People wanted to do me wrong. I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, sucks to be you. Sucks to be you that you feel this way about me. But here I go, pivot, move on with my life. And I became completely unbothered. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, but should I be caring that somebody just called me a fat bitch? Or, something like that. Like, shouldn't I want to stand up for myself and right this wrong? Because, nobody should be calling me down. But it got to the point where I was just like unbothered. And it's like, say whatever you want. I don't care.
So that's interesting. Would you say that a way to describe that would be that you were just observing that? Or was it something else?
What do you mean?
Like, you're just observing that, someone could have called you a fat bitch or whatever, said something. Were you observing it, like, from, if you could picture it just going like, oh yeah, that happened, whatever, just continue? Or is it more like, I just care, I don't know, I just care about me and I don't care about you?
Yeah, I think it kind of got to the point where, like, well, who are you? You're not in my life. I don't care what you think. I don't care. I don't even know you, or you don't know me well enough to have this opinion about me. You're not in my life. So if you want to think these negative things, go ahead. I'm not bothered by you.
Yeah.
Because I'm too busy living my life and doing my own thing that I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But then I started to really question, like, that, am I becoming just too unbothered by everything, to the point where I was allowing people to call me down? Like, should I not be allowing people to call me down? Because for a while, it was constant in my life. Like, I know that not a lot of people have, people that would say mean things about them, but I had it in my life for a while because my dad was a band counselor on our reserve for 25 years. So it kind of made me this open target where people thought that they could just say ugly, mean things about me and call me down and even post it on Facebook. And I wasn't allowed to react. I wasn't allowed to but it almost made me an open target for people to openly hate me or openly dislike me, and for not even knowing me at all as a person. Yeah. But they were allowed to do, like, it was almost as if they were allowed to do that. And like, I'm glad that I learned these tools so that I was able to build this wall. But at the same time, it's just like, I felt like almost I became numb to everything and completely unbothered. So, I don't know. Is it a good thing, or is it?
I think to a point, like, there are teachings on, like, just ignore what's happening. Like, there are legit manifestation teachings by Abraham Hicks, and I can't, like, there's a few of them I can't think. I'll send you stuff. But there are definitely like there's something to that that can be helpful to you to just observe it and not be affected by it. So I think that's a good thing. But it sounds like you also want to be aware of, like, you care and you want to feel your feelings.
Yeah, I think where my conflict is, I want to show my children that it's not okay for people to talk down to you. But the thing is, it's like, but why should we care what somebody else thinks about us? That's, that's none of our business. Let them think whatever they want. We know who we are.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not a fat bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not any of those things that these people would say to me. So I was unbothered and I just went on with my life. But I also struggle with, do we allow people to just tear us down?
Like, what do you think, based on what you've read so far, what kind of advice do you get from that?
I feel like it's been really good at protecting me. Like I've been able to protect myself so that I don't allow other people's opinions to shape who I am. I know who I am. I get to choose who I am and what I believe about myself. I no longer let other people's opinions of me do that to me. But at the same time, I feel like it's just telling me that people don't get to maybe say untrue things about you or to try and ruin your reputation. I think there's a line that I'm not going to allow people to cross.
Yeah.
Like I'll stand up for myself if I feel like it's going to ruin my reputation or if it's untrue.
Right.
But if somebody just wants to express their dislike for me, then that's on them.
Yeah.
Like, especially if they don't know me.
I think another thing that's coming up for me with what you're talking about is also the mental diet. And we've talked about that before. The mental diet is like not taking in things that are not going to be helpful to you. And so that's why I think that's another thing that makes it, sort of like okay that you kind of have to have a thick skin is what people talk or how people say it.
And if you don't have a thick skin and if you want one, like read this book because like she really, really helped me to develop that thick skin because I didn't have it before.
Yeah.
I allowed everybody's opinions to just eat away at me.
Yeah.
Tear me down, make me feel insecure or unworthy or unlovable and all of those things like.
Yeah.
And it was this book that helped me find my self-worth.
One of the exercises that she talked about in here that I actually did that day was she said, I want you to talk about how you approve of yourself. I approve of myself. And I think that's something that really helped with shame. And I want to continue to use that. But another thing that came up for me was forgiveness, like an amplified opportunity to forgive people or to use that as a tool. So, for example, sometimes I'll see people that I've known in the past, and I'll see their names, or other people will be talking about them, and I was carrying this just this old yucky feeling of, oh yeah, like me and that person had a head to head or whatever. That's not a good person in my being, in my energy. And this book has helped me go, what? Who the fuck cares? Why am I holding on to that energy? So I approve of myself and I forgive them. And I just started saying, and I forgive myself. I did that a lot. I forgive them. I forgive myself. And all of a sudden I was just like, wow, I don't even feel it anymore.
Yeah. And you know what? I've also used that. And it's also allowed me to even go as far as to say, I admire this person. I could look at this person who I didn't like before or had whatever feelings for.
Yeah.
And now say, wow, like I admire this person. Wow, this, she looks really beautiful today, or I'm proud of her. And not have those jealousy, envious, or resentful, whatever feeling was there before.
Yeah.
I don't have to carry those feelings anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been a really good book. It's like I felt like when we were going into it, I hate to say this out loud, but it's already the truth anyway, is I felt like as we were starting this book, and after all of the books that we've read so far, I was like, this one is going to push us. And this is the first time I read this. I haven't read this one before. But I'm very familiar with Louise Hay and her work. But as I was reading it, I knew for some reason that there was going to be an elevation. And maybe that's why I was bracing so much when I think about the stress in the last, month, how much stress that I've had or that I have felt, because it truly is an elevation. Since we started, like, we'll have to go back to episode 1 already. And this is what, episode 8, maybe? I don't even know. Yeah. But we'll have to go back and watch it to already see how much has changed for us. I think it was November, December, January, February, March. In 5 months.
5 months.
Like, there's still things in our lives that, we're still trying to balance out. But that energy is fucking moving.
It's moving. It's moving. I feel that. I felt that. I think I wrote it down. Yes. She talked about in chapter 13, and chapter 13 was prosperity. And I wrote down, keep the flow moving, because I feel like that's what we have started to do with our energy is we're moving it around now. We're calling things in to our life.
Yeah.
And we're doing it really fast. And it's not just about money.
Like, it's even though we want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Universe, give me money.
But it's also, I've had experiences in this past little while where I've asked God, Creator, Universe, show me a sign. And the sign has come in such a powerful way and come almost immediate.
Yeah.
Where I've never really experienced it on that level before. Where just last week I was in my kitchen cooking dinner, and I got a sign that I was asking for, and it was so loud. I was just overwhelmed and I couldn't stop crying. And I still had to cook dinner. And I'm standing there and like cooking my dinner, and I can't stop crying because the feeling that took over me was just filled me up. That's how I can describe it. I was full with emotion. And so now, like, these whatever synchronicities and signs and things that have been happening, I'm hyper aware, but I still at times feel very, very overwhelmed because I'm trying to make sense of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I see this chiropractor, and she's not a typical chiropractor. I don't know what her practice is called, like the style, but she just uses this little machine, just a little ping, ping. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I just ignore it. It works. So I'm like, whatever. But I had an appointment yesterday, and I didn't realize I had all these questions for her. And I love our conversations because we talk about nervous system regulation, and she asks, how's your nervous system? And she enjoys my conversation as well because I'm very aware, and I'm like, this is what's happening with my nervous system. And so they're good conversations.
Is she sensing a tension anywhere in your body?
There was definitely a lot of tension. We talked a lot about it, and she made me realize, because she called me very analytical, and I never knew that about myself. I never thought that about myself, but I realized in that moment I had this opportunity to ask her some questions about, this is the work I'm doing to regulate my nervous system. You're helping me. How is that helping? I just had all these questions, and it was really, I didn't think that I was so analytical, but that was interesting to me. But I also had an experience last summer where I also was so overwhelmed. I went for a drive at lunch, And actually, the area that I work in here is an area that I grew up in as a child. And so I ended up in front of a school that I went to, and I was bawling in my car. And it was also a time for me where, like, it was a major release, that cry. I needed it. So many things came up that day. That's also another thing about healing that, maybe we don't talk enough about, healing and elevating, because that's what we're doing. We're healing shit with manifestation. I feel like you can only get, like, and this might not be completely accurate, but it's been my experience, is you can go so far in the, like I was talking about earlier, the fun of manifestation. And then for me, it's been, you hit a wall and you're like, okay, now you got to deal with this. Yeah. And for me, that's what's led to my healing.
Yeah. Getting back to what you said about being analytical. Okay, so I think it's chapter 14, I think she talks about the body. Okay, so when I was reading chapter 14 and she's talking about the body and she's talking about earaches and eyes and, back pain and what does it mean and what does this mean? Mm-hmm. And throat problems. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading it and I'm thinking like, oh, so-and-so in my life has back problems. This is probably why. So-and-so has arthritis. This is probably why. So-and-so. And then I'm thinking like, she just said earlier in the book, quit focusing on other people. Like, it's not my concern.
Yeah.
My concern is me and healing myself. Just like what you said, it's like healing yourself. So I had to pivot and redirect my thoughts and tell myself like, okay, how is this affecting me? Like,
right.
What are my ailments?
Like, what about you, Jill?
Right. And like, I quit thinking I need to analyze other people and worry about other people and their, the things that they are doing wrong in their life and trying to condemn them for all of their mistakes. And I'm like I'm perfect, sitting on a high horse and like, oh, this is because you did this.
Right.
This is because you're not doing this.
Yeah.
And I have to like step back and say, that's their life. I gotta focus on my life.
It's interesting because earlier in our conversation, you were talking about how other people can say and do things and you're like not there for it.
Yeah.
But then you see this list and you're like, ooh, I know who.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because there's a imbalance of energy there.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the energy is not coming back somewhere, right? Because the energy will still go back and forth. But anyway, just after you said that, I was like, oh yeah, back problems. I was going to look that up. Upper, because I have a lot of upper back problems. It says lack of emotional support, feeling unloved, and holding back love, which is interesting because all these things are happening in my brain right now. I'm like, oh my God, new neural pathways. Because in the past year, and every little while, it's getting better and better, is that I'm learning to receive emotional support. And although my back has been better, and because I am feeling more loved and I'm not holding love back as much because there's just been some really incredible elevations in my relationship. So that feels good. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we started reading this book and I was getting into it, I was just like, okay, this is gonna be a shift for us.
So I'll tell you one of the problems that I'm dealing with recently is I have a hernia.
Okay.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
I don't even know what that is exactly.
I didn't either until I was told I have one. So the probable cause: ruptured relationships, strain, burdens, incorrect creative expression.
Wow.
I could totally see all of that stuff that have happened in my life in this past year. Well, with my family life and finances and my creative expression being blocked and trying to rebuild relationships and, with my older children and allowing them to be their own people instead of me trying to be controlling mom.
Mm.
So we've been, going through, reforming relationships as adults. So the new thought pattern. My mind is gentle and harmonious. I love and approve of myself. I am free to be me.
Yeah, those are good. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but when I left for my vacation, there was something there that, like, one of the affirmations or the new thought pattern, which I truly love about Louise Hay and her work, because like, being aware of the fact that I can change my thoughts that can change my life has actually been the thing that's changed my life. My thumb is really stuck on this page. It's page 115. I forget what chapter. It's 14, chapter 14. I don't know if our pages will be the same because now I have the actual black and white version. But where I'm at says, make room for the new. And this is, you know what, maybe this is, it's a new spring again. Not again, but it's almost the spring season. And that's another manifestation tool, right? Is declutter.
I wrote that down.
Did you? Yay.
Yes, it says clear the clutter.
Yes.
Clean out your fridge, clean out your closets, clean off the top of your shelves.
So this is a bad habit that I've had for years, and I don't know how to get rid of the habit, but I'm in a 4-bedroom townhouse, and I have a really big basement. And like, there's one section for washer and dryer. I used to have like a gym kind of set up down there, but over the years we've used it for different things. And I have this one room in the back. It's probably like the size of this room that we're in right now. And I end up using it for storage or just shit that we don't need anymore. And every year that room is full. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, how did I accumulate all of this? And instead of getting rid of it because of time, I just say, go put it in the back room, go put it in the basement, and so it's filled with so much shit.
Yeah.
And I think make room for the new. I try to, this is something new that I do. So my friend Phoenix taught me this, is at the end of every winter, summer season, of course in Canada it's a little bit more difficult because our weather is so crazy. But at the end of winter, I put away all my winter clothes, and then I just have summer clothes, and then I switch them. I never used to do that. So that's really helped me keep my closet more organized, and a few things like that. But also, so I have some spaces that are less cluttered,
mm-hmm.
but then I keep sticking it in the basement, which is not decluttering.
Right.
It's almost like just in my head and in my energy, there's that, just put it back here, just put it back here. So that's building up. So I gotta clean out that room, continue to declutter, make room for the new, to make room for more abundance.
Yeah. And she said, give it away, have a sale, donate it. If you haven't used it in the past year, then
that's what she
says. Get rid of it.
And I have stuff down there, like especially clothing and stuff, for fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time to let that stuff go, and somebody will enjoy it, right? Somebody will enjoy that, something that you don't need anymore. And sometimes, when I feel like I have so much to do, I have so much work to do, I will I'll make some time to just clean my closet or declutter my office or something, and then I'll just look at it as, no, this is part of my work.
Uh-huh.
This isn't me wasting time. This isn't me being distracted. This is actually a part of my work, because in order for me to be creative, I need an organized space. I need an organized life.
Yeah. And So I just got home after being away for 2 weeks. Like I was in Toronto for a week for work. Came home, dump everything in my room, and then I get ready for vacation, which is a different type of packing. And then I come home and then I have so much laundry to do. And so my room is like it's not terrible. It's been worse. I make my bed every day, and I still have a lot of laundry to put away, but it takes a lot of work to, like, it has to be a priority.
Yeah. Even though we're like busy, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to clear that space, that mental space.
And I even have a cleaner that comes every couple of weeks. And my intention or my hopes is always, or I guess it's more of a wish. I wish that she would just like magically put everything away. But over our time of working together, I realized she doesn't know where I want everything.
Right.
So it's not, it's not easy.
You have to give it a place.
Yeah.
Yeah. She can put it back in its place if it gets moved.
We haven't got there yet. Yeah. So anyway, that'll be something I'm going to invite to everybody who's listening, and something we can commit to doing. Well, you're going on vacation in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but decluttering, that's one of my like next things to do at home. And I'm going to use that with intention, that I'm getting rid of things in my house, but I'm also getting rid of things that are holding energy to create space for new.
Yeah.
And not just new things in my house, just new energy, new life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I think that this is a book that I want to come back to again in time, and just allow the magic to, flow through me again and remind me of some old lessons and some new lessons. And if you haven't read this book, please, pick up a copy of this book. I give it away as often as I can. I really do. This is one of the books that if I find a copy, I will buy it right away, and I will wait until I find somebody to give it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I know I'm a little bit stuck between, like, I have books that I love, like this one. I'm just like, I never want to give it away.
Well, that's why I buy extra copies.
Yeah. Okay. So the next book, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I haven't read this one, so I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay, this one, we're going back to the bank. This one, Busting Loose from the Money Game. I don't know how I heard about it. I think I read it for the first time, probably 2024. And I think I've read it twice. And it's another one that's very specific to like quantum physics, looking at like the world as an illusion. And it, gives you examples of like science, how science backs that. And then it gives us a process on, so what? Like everything's an illusion, but there's all these things. Life is going to happen. Shit's going to hit the fan. What are you going to do about it? And so this book gives us the process of what to do about it.
I'm excited. I haven't read it, so I'm really excited to get my copy and dive right in.
And so it's very like, it's affirmations, but I don't think he calls it affirmations. I think like it's called the process. And I still use the process, not as diligently as I will when we're in the book, but I love taking all of the parts of like what worked for me and all these different tools and bringing them together for my life. And then my leadership, how I coach and lead others to bring their own tools in their life. So it's Busting Loose from the Money Game by Robert Scheinfeld. Is it Scheinfeld? Yeah. Mind-blowing strategies for changing the rules of the game you can't win.
Oh,
it's going to be good. Yay. Okay. Next time we come back, we'll be millionaires. Okay. Talk to you again soon.